Hi, welcome to Hollywood. This is Josh.
And this is Carter. Welcome to another edition of Hollywood Podcast. Currently being brought to you by Diet Mountain Dew and those fun peanut butter eggs we all get from church.
Those are the devil's peanut butter eggs.
I think they are. I was feeling really tired, and then some sort of fire got lit inside me once I ate it.
It's a Stonecutter's conspiracy.
Goddamn stonecutters.
I don't know. They're all, you gotta keep rise of them. They're everywhere.
The FBI put, cocaine in the hood, so, stonecutters are putting peanut butter eggs in churches.
That's right. We'll conquer the world with diabetes.
That's diabetes.
Yeah, from the Wilford Grimley.
My name's Wilford Brimley. Diabetes.
So today's episode, we're going to talk about something worse than diabetes almost. And
should I do it entirely as Wilford Brimley, by the way?
Is he? No, he's dead, isn't he?
Is he? Did he die from diabetes?
I don't know. Let's look it up. If anybody knows.
In all seriousness, we're going to get to work now and talk about one of the worst things to happen to cinema since the colorization of black and white films.
It's a big disappointment.
It's one of the biggest disappointments because our hopes were so high.
Yeah, it's Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
Just say the Phantom Menace, you can't help but go, ugh.
Yeah, what a disappointment. Phantom Menace can be summed up as, well, Darth Maul was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's like Darth Maul was pretty cool, and that's it. Now let's start off with the general plot. Basically, we pick up with Qui-Gon Jinn and a very young Obi-Wan Kenobi, who is a Padawan at this time, going to stop some dispute on some planet. What planet was it?
Naboo was the Trade Federation was having dispute because everybody loves trade disputes.
Yeah, trade disputes equal butts in the seats.
It's like Lucas sat around for 20 years thinking, what do the kids want? I know, trade disputes. And then like the Nemoidians were the Trade Federation leaders, and they were like Asian stereotypes pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. They were pretty much like a hybrid Asian/Jew stereotype. It was horrible.
Oh, but hi, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
Like, what? Really, dude?
Well, the stereotypes of that movie didn't end because then, like, quickly after that, they land on Naboo and they ran into the... I don't know what's worse, but this was, like, half of the worst part of the movie. It was Jar Jar Binks and the entire race of over-the-top Jamaican people.
Yeah, the Gungans were... Oh, Misa!
And oh my, just completely and utterly over the top Jamaican people. And then they run in like later to the slave owner of little kid Anakin and his mom, and that was like the money grubbingest Jew stereotype anyone could come up with.
Even the people that were Star Trek that made the Ferengis were like, that's too far.
I see Quark just sitting there. Dude, like, I know I'm a stereotype, that's just wrong.
There's stereotypes, and then there's stereotypes. So.
It's horrible, but then we move on to they run into Princess...
Queen. They go to Naboo. They run into Queen Amidala. The Trade Federation attacks, so they escape, and then they get hit. Their engine gets hit or something, and so they have to crash, do an emergency pit stop at Tatooine. That's where they run into Anakin.
Yeah, they run into, and they once Qui-Gon senses the Force in him at such a young age, and
he's the chosen one.
Freaking the Jesus analogy so over the top. But whatever, there's a lot of Jesus analogies in a lot of movie and TV shows, so I'll even give him that. Fine, whatever. And they have to place a bet to earn his freedom.
It's like a 20-minute pod race.
Yeah, and then they go in the pod race, which, for the love of God, no. I'll just start pause on this. Child actors really, as a whole, are fairly horrible.
Yeah, but I mean, they have very little life experience to go off of.
They do, but here's the thing, and I've noticed this. I watch a lot of British TV. And a lot of even American TV with a British cast, Game of Thrones, for instance. That's something. Child actors from Britain are much more disciplined in their craft than any child actor from America. It's incredibly obvious. They take what they're doing very seriously. So I don't know why I go with an English child actor to play Anakin, especially since half of the original Star Wars cast was English.
Yeah, look at Harry Potter series too. Those kids are.
Yeah, look at Harry Potter. I mean, for the love of God, English kids know where it's at. They're taking their craft very seriously.
American kids I want McDonald's. No, after you do the scene. No, I want McDonald's now.
If Phantom Menace were made today, Anakin would probably be played by Jaden Smith.
Peter Dinklage.
Peter Dinklage. Well, you see, Peter Dinklage is American, luckily.
Yeah, see? No, I'm just kidding. I love Peter Dinklage.
Peter Dinklage can do anything.
Yep.
Let's move on with the movie. So they're on, Anakin gets his freedom, and then they're being followed by a mysterious shrouded figure who comes off in the middle of the desert. Here
comes the best part of the movie.
Yeah, a giant, fight between Darth Maul and Qui-Gon, which leads to a standoff with Qui-Gon's like, screw this, I'm out, hops back on the jet and, powders out of the planet.
So after that, they go back to Naboo, right, to free the planet. And then they get the Gungans to help, because, they're great warriors.
Well, they also didn't they make a pit stop at Coruscant to talk to the Jedi Council?
Right, to ask about to introduce them to Anakin.
And I sense great fear in this kid. Even I was like, this kid's creeping me out, get him out of my temple.
Yeah.
And Qui-Gon's like, you know what, you don't know what you're talking about here.
He's the chosen one.
But listen. We have magic bacteria that is controlling everything.
The Metachlorians.
Magic bacteria. God. But yeah, then they agree that they go back to help the Gungans against the Trade Federation that's being run by a convoluted droid army. God, even talking about this whole thing just kind of makes me sick.
Yeah, Darth Maul kills Qui-Gon, and then Obi-Wan cuts him in half. Anakin flies a Naboo fighter up there, blows up the Trade Federation ship. He's like, now this is pod racing.
Yippee! And God. Ugh.
And then kind of like, that's about it. They roll the credits.
And just thinking about that film kind of make you physically ill.
I just try to think of Darth Maul, who was only in the movie like 3 minutes. He's like the Boba Fett of Episode 1.
Well, Boba Fett was much cooler than Darth Maul, because Darth Maul just kind of got shit on.
Oh, yeah.
Pardon my language. We'll bleep that out later.
Beep. No, but I mean, in comparison to everything else, he was pretty cool.
In comparison to everything else, and there's one of my biggest points. We didn't need to kill off Darth Maul. Darth Maul should have served in place of General Grievous.
Well, the idea that Lucas had was Palpatine kept looking for the most powerful apprentice, so that's why he went to, Darth Maul was kind of like the Force, like not like the moving stuff Force, but the power, like physical power.
Strong arm. And, yeah, it was a trained assassin.
Yeah, and then they went to Darth Tyrannus, which is more of a political power.
Yeah, and here's the thing about the Darth names. They really need to start getting more creative.
Darth Evilus.
It could be Darth Inconvenienced.
Because they have the Emperor Palpatine is Darth Sidious.
Yeah, and, Sidious, Vader, okay, I'll give him that. That was before, that was the 70s and 80s, whatever, but, we really should have gotten to, like, Revan. Think about Darth Revan. For those of you who never played KOTOR, Darth Revan's saga takes place like 1,000 years before the events of Episode 1 and beyond. Revan, good name. Darth Malik, good name. Now, they need to get the whole, like, using adjectives for your last name.
Yeah. Like tyrannical is tyrannous. And
yeah. Come on, Lucas. Come on, branch out. And here's another big problem I have. Lucas should not direct films ever again.
At least not a Star Wars film.
Yeah, let him go do an art house film or something.
I mean, THX 1138 is awesome.
Yeah, and American Graffiti was a good film.
But we've only seen those in Star Wars.
Yeah.
So, it's hard to say. I would like to think Lucas would have been a better director had Star Wars not exploded.
Maybe. I mean, you make a good point. But here's my thing. Out of the original trilogy, episodes 4, 5, and 6, which one was the worst directed?
Worst directed?
Any guess? Yeah, worst directed.
I would think 6.
4, man. 4. Hands down. There were wipes everywhere. Mark Hamill's acting was horrible. He was not given anything to lead on, and it's bad. Even the lightsaber fight, which, granted, was the first ever lightsaber fight, but it's still horrible to watch. Like, watch it now, it doesn't. You can't. And there's just no watching anymore.
It's an old man and a half-dead cyborg, so.
Yeah, but think about it, like, that half-dead cyborg moves a heck of a lot better in episode 5, doesn't he?
He got new gears.
Yeah, no, give me that.
I think a lot of it's nobody took 4 seriously. They just thought it was a stupid sci-fi movie, and then it made huge money, and they're like, ooh.
Lucas took it seriously. That was all on him. He can't really direct that well, all right? And Lucas, in my opinion, is a better concept man than he's an actual writer. His dialogue is very stilted.
Just saying he's better as a producer, like for Indiana Jones and whatnot.
Yeah, and look at Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones is great, except for the last one. But Lucas, he can't really write or direct that well. His ideas are great. Magnificent idea machine. But not as a director. And you look at all the Star Wars films, the most brilliantly directed was Episode 5, Empire Strikes Back. And that was Irvin Kershner. And Kershner knew how to lead those actors. And some of the most memorable lines out of there were from Kershner trusting his actors to do their job.
Yeah.
The whole scene right before Han's getting frozen in Carbonite where she says, I love you, and the original script says, I love you too. And Kershner's like, screw that. And has a discussion with Harrison Ford, and he's like, do what you feel like you would do. And Harrison Ford just blurts out, I know. And he gets frozen. Space pimp to the end.
Yeah, because that's Han Solo. He's not very sentimental.
Yeah. And it's very, Harrison Ford understood this, but the guy who created Harrison Ford didn't.
Yeah.
So, to episode 1, I'm getting Josh. where would you start over with this film?
I would start over with the opening crawl, and then everything thereafter.
We were leaving the opening credit crawl.
No, I'm saying that would change. That's where it starts. It would change after the Star Wars goes forward. So 20th Century Fox, Star Wars, Episode 1, and then everything else changes. So basically, the prequels had some continuity. They caused some continuity problems in the originals. Most notably, I can remember Princess Leia said she told Luke that she remembered their mother, and she died her mother died when Luke and Leia were both straight out of the womb.
I mean, unless that's a memory generated by the Force.
That's pushing it.
That's pushing it. Even for me, that's pushing it. But, I guess, we can just kind of use the Force for everything.
And then Obi-Wan takes Luke, right?
Yeah.
Into hiding, supposedly. So he takes him on the planet where Anakin was enslaved, and then Luke uses the name Skywalker.
Not to mention he's with, Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru.
Yeah, Aunt Beru.
And, you never think Vader's going to go looking there.
Yeah.
Like, I grew up here, but I'm never going back. I don't think anything's going on here.
It's like, why? It just doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't make sense, especially when, the Force can be detected from across the galaxy from one point to another. The reason that Yoda hid in Dagobah was because that planet was so Force-rich due to all of the present life in a giant swamp planet. He was able to hide out. But you're in the middle of the desert.
Yeah, I would think, like the X-Men movies where like Professor X uses Cerebro and like all the little mutants pop up.
Yeah.
I would think that since the Jedi got wiped out, there's not too many Jedi dots, so they could detect each other, I think, a lot easier.
Yeah. And even with Force-sensitive people like Widge Antilles, you're still only going to find a few Master Jedi out there.
Yeah, so it's like...
But we got to get that entire movie. First thing, no Gungans.
Yeah.
Get rid of this Trade Federation BS.
I wouldn't even start Anakin out on Tatooine.
Yeah, it made no sense. Come up with another planet. We don't have to go to Tatooine.
I thought a planet would be cool, would be like a post-apocalyptic planet that just went through some like massive war and like the Republic's there trying to like clean up.
It's Mad Max world.
Yeah, but that's how they find Anakin. They're like the Jedi are there to try to clean up or whatever.
Yeah.
And then Anakin could always resent the Jedi for never being there to stop the war to begin with. They didn't come till later to clean up the mess.
Very true.
So that would give a motive to turn on them later.
Now, I like the fact that Qui-Gon died in battle against Darth Maul, but I would have had Darth Maul survive to the end of the series, end of the original trilogy at least.
Have him killed by Anakin, I guess, by Darth Vader.
No, I would have had. No, you got to remember, Obi-Wan killed Grievous, so in place Obi-Wan could still get his revenge.
Yeah. I think. Did you like how the clone troopers? There was a clone. They talk about episode 4. They talk about Clone Wars.
Yeah, we didn't. The clone troopers weren't even introduced in the first film.
Yeah, but I'm saying if we wipe it out totally, and we're just going by the information we're given in 4, 5, and 6, would you still save the clones for 2?
Yeah, we're going to go with that. The Clone Wars, the mythos is still there. You can still go by the bullet points.
Yeah.
But change everything. Just change. First thing, no little kid. Well, yeah, you got to have the little kid Anakin, but not that kid.
I'm thinking maybe a little bit older, like 13 or something. Because that might be old for a Jedi, but look at Luke. He was like 20 years old.
Well, Luke was like 17, I think.
Well, by the time Episode 5 came around, he was older.
A little bit, yeah.
So I'm saying if he was like 19, 20 and could get trained, why couldn't Anakin get trained at like 13?
Yeah, I suppose you're right.
And that way you have a more experienced actor, or at least a little more mature actor. You know what I mean? I wouldn't make such a big age discrepancy between Anakin and his wife. Because in one, she looks like 16 and he looks like 8.
Yeah, and she's like, dressing him up and down like, hey.
Yeah, and you're just like, ugh.
What is going on here?
Yeah. Another thing I'd like to introduce, not necessarily in the first one, but at some point have Alderaan in it more. Alderaan, the planet.
Oh, Alderaan, yeah. There was no Alderaan. We never actually went to Alderaan.
They just dropped Leia off. You barely saw it. It was like a mountainous planet.
Yeah, and Alderaan's a pretty place. It has it's very lush grass, and let's give some Alderaan some love, because Lord knows it doesn't make it past like Act 2 of Episode 4.
And that would make it mean more.
It would, and if the
audience has good memories of that planet, right? And thought it was cool, and it got blown up in 4, it would mean something.
You know who I would have liked to have seen kind of make appearance like as a young private in the Imperial Army starting in Episode 1?
Like Piet or
Tarkin.
Tarkin? Yeah.
Tarkin. Grand Moff Tarkin. Because dude's like 70 by the time, he's like Vader's age, so it wouldn't be implausible to have him.
Yeah.
And Tarkin was such, it was kind of like this very major but also minor role at the same time. Like, we didn't see that much of him, but he left such a great performance.
He was Darth Vader's boss in 4.
Yeah, a little bit. I thought they were kind of like on an even keel with each other, just like jockeying for position within the ranks.
So do you like the post-apocalyptic idea?
I do. I think that would be a different stretch. We need to see more plan. We didn't need to go back to Tatooine. They did introduce Naboo. Props to them, but Naboo obviously didn't work.
Oh Lord, another terrible thing. Talk about Tatooine when they had Anakin be the creator of C-3PO.
Oh yeah, that gets thrown right out.
Yeah, that has no place.
Didn't need to happen. We didn't need C-3PO or R2-D2. As much as I love C-3PO and R2-D2, they didn't need to be made by a 6-year-old child as a slave on a desert planet.
Yeah, it's just... So I guess Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon are with the Jedi. We'll just keep Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. Well, Obi-Wan has to be in the series, but we'll keep Qui-Gon because it's Liam Neeson and he's cool.
Yeah, it's Liam Neeson. He got on the phone and he was like, "I don't know where you've taken my spaceship, but I have a particular set of skills that make me a nightmare for people like you."
So I think
that would have been good, like Taken Jedi style.
That's going to be one of the spin-offs. Like Rogue One, it'll be the next one. But, they're on like a humanitarian mission, which that's what Jedi are supposed to be, right?
Yeah, they're kind of like peacekeepers, and humanitarian. It's kind of like a cross between UN Special Forces and kind of, there's people that go around doing peaceful stuff.
Greenpeace and stuff like that?
Not Greenpeace. Those people try to save fish.
Oh.
God, why can't I think of their name?
Like Red Cross?
No, not the Red Cross. Well, I guess kind of the Red Cross. But, the people, like, go around to India and stuff and are, like, kind of like missionaries, but they're non-religious. Peace Corps. There we go.
Peace Corps. There you go.
That's what I was looking for.
You want a cookie?
I go get a cookie. Have a cookie?
So they meet Anakin there.
They meet Anakin there, and they like rescue him from like the murderous rampages of an apocalyptic planet. But and I could definitely see like his mom biting it at that point, trying to save him.
Yeah, because you want to make it tragic. You want to make his youth pretty tragic. Because that's what makes a good villain.
Yeah, it's a deep anger, and there was anger in him. I get that, Yoda. I mean, we all got our issues.
Maybe it's her being killed by sand people and.
Oh yes, the sand people molestation of his mother.
So I think that's a pretty good start. And you get the vibe also that things really aren't right with the Republic.
Yeah, like the Republic's starting to crumble under its own weight, and that's kind of something we're experiencing right now in a world view. Is the government is starting to collapse on itself. The people are trusting the government less and less, with good reason.
Yeah. And so I think like Darth Sidious, he could somehow manipulate it. Maybe like an accident happens on the planet that kills even more people, and he sort of makes the people think that the Jedi did it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that's a good point.
Because that's another thing that they did. Like people like the Emperor's like the Jedi are bad now, and everybody's like, okay, they're just bad.
Yeah, it was just kind of like Jedi are bad now. I'm issuing Proclamation 640 or whatever it was.
Yeah, and people just instantly turn on them. I don't think that would be the case.
No, I mean, yeah, Senator Palpatine wielded a lot of power, but just because one man gets up and is like, these people are bad, well, I guess it worked in Germany in 1930, but...
Yeah, but the Jews weren't like superheroes, you know what I mean? The Jedi are like super... How many lives have they saved?
That's true. I mean, they're like, galactic peacekeepers with giant lightsabers running around in awesome-looking cloaks.
It's like the president just gets on TV. Okay, we don't like the Avengers anymore. They're bad guys.
Well, I think Lex Luthor did that about Superman.
Yeah, but I don't think people really believed it.
Yeah, it's probably half and half.
Yeah. But I mean, it's not like everybody just instantly, oh, okay, well, our leader says it, so screw these guys.
Yeah, not in this day and age. We have, more and more people are becoming more skeptical of everything that's going on with good reason. Thankfully, people are starting to think. Yeah, and I think that would have happened hopefully in a civilization where you can travel faster than the speed of light.
Yeah, because they're dealing with thousands of different alien species, so there's going to be a lot of different cultures.
Yeah, E.T. was in the Senate.
Yeah. I really don't mind that Easter egg, though.
No, that was cute. I liked that. And, that was definitely a job because we all know that, Spielberg and Lucas like to hold hands and skip down the park together.
Yeah. I did like Coruscant. I thought Coruscant's a pretty cool planet.
Coruscant looked great. I thought it was very cool, the city planet, which, I wouldn't want to drive in that kind of traffic, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, I think it's based off of, I think it got its name from the one of the novels. That came out along the way.
A lot of the novels were even better than the movie script that came out, sadly enough. But,
yeah.
And we would just have to scrap the entire series from, except for,
That'd be interesting in one is if the Emperor did sense Anakin and sent Darth Maul to go kill him, and then Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon would have to try to defend Anakin.
And any of that can happen. I mean, the good thing about the Star Wars universe is the possibilities are endless, and that's why there's been so many fan fiction, so many books.
Yeah.
Because it's incredibly expansive and imaginative, and yeah, some people call Lucas a rip-off artist because, he did get a lot of his ideas from Kurosawa and a host of other influences, but it was kind of like more research that led to his own creation of his own world from stuff he's read, and it gave it all uniqueness in itself. And that's the way ideas are. You build upon ideas that have already been bought.
Yeah, because, you go back to, like, Greek mythology and stuff. Everything's been done at some point. There's no new stories. You just remix it.
Yeah, there's tons of stories that are all similar. I mean, look at Dances with Wolves, Pocahontas, and Avatar.
Yeah.
Same basic story. We all know. And Last Samurai. You throw Last Samurai in there, too. It's the same thing.
Yeah. But I think with episode 1, you tell more of a personal story instead of just, we gotta save this world.
You know what I'd like to see? If we can even go back before episode 1, let's go with, like, the rise of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, how did he get it started? We come in on him as a Padawan, a seasoned Padawan at that.
Yeah, well, he could even be younger, you know what I mean? Because I don't think he's that much older than Anakin.
Apparently he was at least, well, I can say he was about 20.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at like Alec Guinness, and then you look at the guy that played the unmasked Vader,
yeah,
there's not a huge age discrepancy. So, it's like blowing up the space station and stuff. It's like, we'll see that stuff later. We don't need to see that again.
Yeah,
start right off the bat. I mean, you have to make it a little more original than that, and then because you're building to the Clone Wars anyway. So I think why wouldn't Darth Sidious try to kill Anakin?
That's a good point. Why wouldn't Darth Sidious try to kill Anakin? I'm hoping that with the next trilogy that's getting started up, thanks to everything happening in Disney, the opening scroll says, due to a rip in the space-time continuum, episodes 1 through 3 never happened.
Yeah.
Abrams did it once with Star Trek. Let's do it with Star Wars.
I don't think that they will.
No,
that may have been part of when Lucas sold them. He's like, don't touch my stories.
It could have been, but Lucas also, I'm happy that Disney now has the rights to Star Wars. Because, one, it opens up more Star Wars toys, and not to mention, we're getting the stories in the hands in a powerful machine that has done us right with Marvel.
Yeah. Well, they know characters. They're a character-driven business.
Yeah. And they know for their machine to keep rolling, their product can't suck.
Nope.
And they've knocked it out of the park every time so far. Even, some people were like, Thor wasn't that great. I'm like, guess what? Thor was better than 90% of the stuff that's in theaters. It just wasn't that great in comparison to some of the other ones.
Yeah, it's like, what would you do? Yeah, I mean, Thor was a lot better than I thought it'd be going into it.
Yeah, I like Thor. Of course, then you realize that, all this stuff happens within, a 2-day weekend.
Yeah, but,
I find the love of my life, and I don't ever want to leave her, all in the span of a 2-day weekend.
But time doesn't really mean much to gods.
No, but apparently it doesn't either to, fairly young astrophysicists.
Yeah. But I would like to explore more of the Jedi philosophy,
I would put Neil deGrasse Tyson in as a Jedi.
On the council or something?
I'd put him on the council. That man deserves a cameo.
What was he doing back in '99? Same thing?
Same thing he's doing now, being an astrophysicist.
So he just got popular later.
Think about it. The guy studied under Carl Sagan.
Yeah.
He's been around for a long time doing this stuff. Just now he's starting to blow up because people are like, God, this guy's smart and charismatic.
Science is cool.
It's pretty much what it's turned into. If anybody listening has not seen the miniseries he did with Fox, Cosmos, which is a revamp of Carl Sagan's Cosmos, I urge you. It's on Netflix. Go watch it. It's entertaining.
Seth MacFarlane produced it.
Yeah, Seth MacFarlane did produce it. Surprisingly, because I was half expecting there's going to be a lot of fart jokes in here. But no, Seth MacFarlane took the material and the rights to Cosmos very seriously.
So back to episode 1. Do you have any more story ideas? We got my idea was the attempted assassination of Anakin Skywalker is the story.
I would go with that. I like your idea a lot better. Can't really think of anything more clever for an idea. All I know is what they did was horrible.
It's not hard to improve on.
It's like I could film a Mountain Dew bottle for 2 hours, and it would be a better film than what they did.
And my other idea for the clones is a twist. It's not the same guy cloned over and over and over. Is that they clone soldiers that have died and bring them back to life via clones.
Blackest Night?
No, but they're not zombies. They're clones. But clones of people that have already lived.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, that would definitely be doable when we start cloning the dead.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe even they can remember some of their combat experience before. You don't have to train them.
Of course, then we go into the whole thing of who was, because we all know Boba Fett is a clone now.
If we wipe it out, though, not necessarily.
We should wipe that out too, because Boba Fett being a clone just ticks me off.
But I thought that'd be such a creepy idea that your army is made up of clones of people that have been killed. Is that not pretty cool?
Yeah, I like that.
I mean, they're not like zombies, obviously.
So Disney executives, if you are listening to this, we will gladly sell you the rights to our idea for about $2 million each.
Or a lot of the Kraft mac and cheese Star Wars edition.
Yeah, we also want 4% off the back end and 15% on any international distribution rights.
Because I was thinking, like, man, that could make you could get deep with some of these clones if you wanted. Yeah, they wouldn't have to be just fodder. You could actually make a character. Like they had flashbacks to their previous life. You could, like, maybe they ran into their wife or something.
A TV series in that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot cooler to me than, like, kind of dumbed down versions of a bounty hunter.
Clone Wars Special Forces, kind of like Halo ODST.
Yeah. And like, can you imagine, like these guys pretty much all figured out that they've died. They still have, like, the honor to the Republic or whatever. They're loyal to the Republic, but that's gotta mess with you.
Be like a Vietnam vet who's just kind of like all shaggy, his hands are missing. He's got kind of like Four Leaf from Tropic Thunder.
Yeah, but I mean, you have the guys that have died like 3 or 4 times.
Jeez, yeah.
I mean, they learn from them have dying,
Oy.
I think that would just, to me, it's kind of interesting. I've seen that a little bit like that in other sci-fi things, but it just adds a little more depth, I think, to Star Wars.
I totally agree with you on that.
So, I mean, that's my idea for the Clone Wars. We'll get into that maybe another episode. I was just trying to focus on episode 1. Is there any new planets you could think of?
Not any off the top of my head. I would have to look at the official galactic star charts for Star Wars to get any other ideas off the top of my head, but
I was thinking maybe like a crystal planet.
Doctor Who did a crystal planet one episode.
Yeah. Because they always have the themes like Hoth is the ice planet, Endor's the forest. You
could do a diamond planet.
Yeah. Like the Empire, or I guess the Republic mines there or something.
Go back to Dagobah. Like, show some more Dagobah some love.
Yeah, like, how would they find that place? You know what I mean? It's apparently a...
Well, Yoda. I think that's where Yoda's from.
They've never said where he's from.
They're not?
No, there's... In episode 1, the other version, there's another of Yoda's species, but they've never even named his species yet.
Yeah, that's getting more in-depth than that about Yoda's people.
Yeah.
We went to, in the later episodes 2 and more prevalent 3, went to Kashyyyk and got some Wookiee love.
Yeah. I'd like to also see Corellia. Kind of like I imagine more like a smuggler type planet. Like a... I'm trying to think. Maybe more like Blade Runner than...
Yeah, what were those guys? The Mandalorians?
Yeah, the Mandalorians, like Boba Fett. I'd like to see Mandalore. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, Mandalore would be pretty cool. Because we got, they touched on a lot of Mandalorians with Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah, when they were still more like a warrior.
Yeah, when they were a warrior race and just much more prevalent.
Yeah. So I guess they like, Darth Maul would try to kill Anakin, and then like Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan sort of stop him and, trap him behind something to escape. So they would go to another planet. Maybe they could go to Dagobah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Just kind of get rid of the whole subplot about the Trade Federation and politics.
Yeah.
We're not there for that. We're not there for... It can be in the background, but God, it became so prevalent in episode 1 that it was distracting to the overall story.
It actually make Darth Maul more physically dominant over them, like to give them a reason to run.
Yeah, make him a threat. Give him some Force lightning out of those fingers. You couple that Force lightning with the ninja action that Darth Maul's got going on.
Yeah, and make them like they fear for their life that this dude's coming after them.
Like, this dude is scared. First thing, we haven't seen a Sith in hundreds of years, and now he's back and ticked off.
Yeah. So, I mean, I would think that would be cooler. Like, it's almost like a, it's like a...
Get, like, Darth Maul a little bit, I know his backstory from the books.
Yeah.
So incorporate that more into the movie, because his story was very tragic in the way he was raised and everything. And that gives, you can't really understand a bad guy unless you kind of explore his psychoses.
Yeah, even if you don't do it on screen, I think the writer needs to know where the characters come from.
Yeah, and that has to be prevalent to the audience, because nobody cares about a nearly nameless villain. You have to give him some emotion, give him some pathos.
It could be like, oh, he has horns and crazy eyes, so he has to be a bad guy.
That's tattoo. Because anybody with facial tattoos is bad.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to see like, it's also a story about like Darth Maul tracking them down. Like he's sort of like almost like a detective, hunting down. Like they're his prey. They're fleeing for their lives, and he's just like an expert hunter, sort of.
Yeah, just.
So it's kind of like Predator in space or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that you could do with that, but what they just did was horrible. I know, and I'm sorry, audience, that I've said how horrible it is sometimes, but anybody that's watched it knows where I'm coming from, how hurt our childhood was from being so excited that Star Wars is back and then getting that.
Yeah.
That's all I've got for episode 1. Josh, you got anything else?
I would say they eventually make it to Naboo, and meet Amidala and R2-D2, meet them somehow. I don't know if it'd be Naboo. But yeah, they would at least run into to Padme and R2-D2 along the way.
Right.
But then episode 2, I got my clone ideas. So if you guys like, we can go into that more in depth. Next time.
I'd like to give a shout out right now to our new listeners in Uzbekistan.
We're up to 18 countries now, so much love to all of you.
Keep it going. I want every country on this planet listening to us wax idiotically over movies, comics, and whatever else comes to our minds.
Yep, so we'll be back next time. We might follow up with episode 2. Get into some psychological clone stuff.
Or we'll do whatever we want, because it's our podcast. We can do whatever. We might talk about cats. You don't know.
It could be 2 minutes or 2 hours of fart noises.
It could be.
Pretty good stuff. All right, take care, everybody.
Peace, love, and chicken grease.